Hey, this is Dale Schweeman. I'm with the show. Today's topic, we're going to talk about the um, President Trump, President Putin summit and the things that President Trump had to say afterward, and comparison of what he's calling a divided nation under President Obama versus a divided nation under President Trump. Um, as we know, President Trump came out of the meeting and said, uh, our intelligence individuals have decided that they have evidence that the Russians were involved in meddling in the U.S. elections of 2016. However, I spoke with President Putin. He says, sorry, we didn't do it. And so I have to say, why would Russia do it? Then he come back on Tuesday when he was not in the presence of Mr. Putin, which I think is a major point. He has a lot to say about individuals when they're not around. He was all good. Some of the news reports talked about how meek, physically, he's a much bigger man than Putin, but his demeanor was very meek in that press conference. Whereas a lot of times, almost all the time, when President Trump, when he was running for office, he stood strong. No matter who came at him, what they had to say, what evidence they had to say, he was very bolstered up, very strong, very powerful, very confident. In the press conference with President Putin, that was not to be seen. He was a much weaker, much meeker individual. Now, when he came Tuesday, he backed down and said, no, I meant to say, why wouldn't Russia have done that? I misspoke. President Trump is the President of the United States of America, the most powerful country in the world. You do not get to have that privilege of misspeaking. You do not get to have that to misspeak at that level. Wars have started. Innocent people have died. Definitely innocent people have went to prison over lesser offenses of misspoken words. Was his speaking acts of treason? No. Should he be impeached? No. However, should his behaviors continue to be like this? No. Should the people continue to follow him hook, line, and sinker, all blind? No. This should be the last, most important, eye-opening wake-up call to the fact that Mr. Trump has got a lot of learning to do as a president. He can't just run this as if it's his world. He's got to run it as a country. He doesn't get to run it for only his personal interests at this time. We have years of history behind us, and we have years of future histories ahead of us that he has to look out for. You can't just babble off stupid things today and think they're not going to be a problem or remembered tomorrow. We have history that's laden with stupid moves. Now, he has, and a lot of the Trump followers have been spending a lot of time comparing Trump's actions to President Obama's actions. Look, we've been a divided country for centuries. Okay? We have a two-party system that creates a division in and of itself. However, we've gotten extremely divided in that part to where now the president runs, if he's a Republican, as soon as he gets in office, the Democrats, they don't try to do anything to help him be successful. They automatically say everything that he comes up with, we fight. And the Republicans are the same way. We saw this with President Obama. That was a war before the election even started. We are going to make sure he loses. He can't win. My son saw that on a newspaper, on a magazine cover. Okay. My son, being a Marine, his commander-in-chief was George W. Bush, and he saw that label on a magazine that said, "We must not let him win." And he said, "Why? If he doesn't win, If you make him lose, that means the whole country loses. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, you want the whole country to come first. See, my son, I give him great props. He's not a political person. But when he does deal with politics, he deals with it as an American first. Party be damned. He doesn't know anything about them. In this case, it's true ignorance is bliss. Because right now we just jump on a platform and run with it. I don't care if it's a good idea, that's my label. Well, let's get back to the division part. Everybody said that President Obama divided the country on race, when in reality he did not. Our country's been divided on race. He did not do the things he could have to unify. The Trayvon Martin case and situation, both white and black the communities were not happy with the way he handled it. But why should a president have to handle that? Presidents are not police officers, they're not prosecutors, and they're not judges. Could he have stepped in, and was that an opportunity to try to meld the racial divide? Yes, he could have, but he didn't. But that's no more different. Our racial divide is no more different from what he did than what it was before. Now, President Trump's actions, that's a whole nother story. He has chosen a foreign country intelligence over our own country's intelligence. And that creates a problem. When he said when he was running for office that, hey, I could stand in the middle of the street and shoot somebody and everybody would still back me. It's coming to show that there's a lot of Trump supporters that don't matter. They don't care. And that's where the fear of treason comes in. President Trump is backing a country in which the president, for several decades, has made it to where his opponents disappear. And it's not just Putin, it's ones before them. Elections have been rigged. Elections have been fixed. Popular opponents disappear so that they can maintain their control and power. Now we have a situation in which it appears Russia's meddling with our elections. Does that open up the door that, hey, maybe our elections are going to be rigged? Does that create an opportunity that maybe there becomes a power struggle? Does that make it to where maybe we get some sort of situation where political opponents start disappearing so that somebody can stay in office even against our Constitution? These are things that need to be addressed. These are the reasons why I say we need to start looking at what President Trump is doing, what President Trump is saying. Now, there's been a lot of things said and a lot of things done. It makes me question whether our country can ever be one again. But I'm thinking, if we take notice to what has been said here this week, that all of us as a nation just take a step back, take a breath, and say, hey, wait a minute. There has been a lot of said. There has been a lot done. But we can overcome this and become a stronger one. This is Dale Schweeman with SchweeView. I'll be talking to you again on another subject. Thank you. Please read it, watch this, see this, share this. Thank you much.